as you guys know, we got the coronavirus going around, or whatever the case may be. And my heart goes out to the people that have been tested positive, and the families who have family members who have tested positive for the coronavirus. It is extremely important that you guys take all the necessary precautions to make sure that, you know, you maintain healthy or whatever the case may be. And even if you have it, you know, just to make sure that, you know, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you're feeling better and, you know, you're able to suppress your symptoms and whatnot. This is just really unfortunate. Like, it really is. And I don't know, man. This is just really sad. Like, we've had a lot of global tragedies and stuff like that, but this is just different. Like, this is just really different. And the fact that you know, the officials don't really know too much about this strand of coronavirus is really alarming, because there's not much information they can give us as far as, you know, getting rid of the virus, and giving us the proper medications to make sure, you know, that we're feeling okay and we can, you know, we can combat this virus. It's really unfortunate. I don't know. At first, I thought this was a joke. I'm like, the government hiding something, whatever the case may be, there's something going on. But I don't know. This is just crazy. Fortunately for me, before this whole outbreak, this whole pandemic even started, I had surgery and I was already on leave. So, you know, I'm not really outside like that unless I need to go to the corner store. But, you know, I'm not at work and stuff like that right now. I'm still on medical leave. I just pray for the people that have to commute every day. I have to get on the trains and the buses, and the people that have to catch flights. Especially the people that have to travel due to work, you know. It's really sad and really unfortunate. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about that, but I just wish everyone well. I'm doing whatever I need to do to make sure that, you know, I stay coronavirus free, because I don't want the Rona. I mean, none of us do, but, you know. Oh my God. I'm gonna tell you right now, I might not be able to eat all this, to finish all this, because ever since my surgery, I have not been able to binge eat the way I normally do. I really can't hold as much as I used to, but I'm gonna try. So where I have, you can see I have 4-ounce lobster tails. I had 4 boiled eggs. I had 3 potatoes. The Russell, is it called Russell? The potatoes. I got some mussels, and I got some tiger prawns. honestly and truthfully, I was only making this because it's not that I didn't want it, but I've been eating like the same foods for like the past week and a half. But I'm glad I made it because, by the way, I've been using making B Love Smack Delicious sauce for a while, and when I thought y'all that woman got something going, she got something going with this sauce because baby, baby, baby. Oh my god, this stuff is so good. Um, for a lot of people who are trying to combat illnesses and just trying to build your immune system in general, I hear that soursop leaves is really good at helping to strongly build your immune system. In fact, I've never tried it, but I'm definitely gonna pick them up. I've heard a lot of good things about the soursop leaves. A lot of good things. Ooh. Maybe. I love spice, but I don't use as many spices as the recipe calls for because the first time I used it, I literally used every ingredient down to the T. And whew, it was spicy, but it wasn't unbearable. But you know, I don't feel the need to need to take breaks and take a couple of breaths in between each bite. Your girl ain't out here thugging like that. It's crazy because I never really liked lobster until I started getting into the mukbang ASMR thing. And to be honest, it might just be where I had the lobster tails at that kind of gave me like a kind of was a bad experience for me that made me not want to eat lobster. It probably just was that restaurant because it's amazing when I make it at home. The eggs kind of throwing my the meal off because everything else, all the seafood and the potatoes I just made, but the eggs I boiled like the eggs were boiled like hours ago, so they're not really warm. They're kind of cold, but it's good. it over there? Oh, potato. Yeah. Oh, I also want to say that I know a lot of people haven't been going to get tested for the coronavirus because they don't feel sick. You know, they don't feel any symptoms. I do want to tell you that just because you don't feel sick, or you don't feel not well, you don't feel ill, or you don't have any symptoms, doesn't mean that there isn't a possibility that you might have it. Still go get tested anyway, because there's a lot of people that are asymptomatic and they feel complete. And that's the scary part of it all. I feel like a lot of people assume that they're gonna get corona and their health is just gonna drastically just drop and deteriorate, but it doesn't work like that. They're like, oh, how many deaths there were on X, Y, and Z since we heard, and I'm just like, yeah, we heard about these deaths due to the coronavirus, but my battery's low. But yeah, like I was saying, we hear about these deaths due to the coronavirus, but you have to think about how many of these people were living with it well before that happened. They could have had it for months. This whole pandemic, this whole outbreak thing just started, and the media just started talking about it and putting it out there. But at the end of the day, we don't know how long people have been walking around with it before this whole thing started, which will be another reason that people go and get tested. You know what I mean? Just because you don't feel symptoms doesn't mean you don't have symptoms. Like with me, usually when I get sick, I usually have like a dry cough. It hurts when I cough. My body usually aches. My nose is usually congested and runny and stuff like that. And it's usually always like that. My body feels like sore, and it's usually always like that. But the last time I got sick, I didn't have a cough. I wasn't sneezing. I didn't have the burning throat, the itchy throat. I just had congestion. You know what I mean? Didn't mean that I wasn't sick. I was like severely congested. It was horrible. I was like, I can't breathe. But yeah, guys, and I understand that it's hard to kind of quarantine and isolate yourself. This is for the people that have it. I know, and I don't want to speak too deep on it because I don't have it, and I wouldn't want to offend anybody, but I will say that I feel like it would be kind of hard to quarantine and isolate yourself if you're living with family and friends, because it's like you guys share the same areas, you guys share the same bathrooms, the same maybe soaps, towels, same dishes and stuff like that. You're within close proximity of the people that you live with, so it's kind of hard to really quarantine and isolate yourself when you're not living alone. But this is when you have to I guess just take extra precautions. That's pretty sad. Fortunately for me, I've been on leave, but I will be back at work soon, and I will be back on the trains and the buses, and it's just crazy. And guys, do your research, because there are a lot of people on social media who are like debating and arguing over um, mortality rates and symptoms and where this thing came from, where it started, and who's involved, and just really, really educate yourself. The worst, I can never understand people who don't research something enough and don't have as much knowledge on something, but they sit up there, they feel obliged and feel entitled to sit up and speak on something they really don't know anything about, you know? I keep hearing people say the coronavirus isn't airborne. And I feel like a lot of people misunderstand what the term airborne means. I feel like when people hear airborne, they assume that it means the virus just floats around the air and you can breathe it in. That's not necessarily what airborne means. You know what I mean? An airborne pathogen could be can be contracted by inhaling, particles of someone's sneeze or cough. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily be, sharing needles and exchanging blood through a hand swap. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because it is just floating in the air naturally doesn't mean it's not airborne. And let me tell y'all, these memes, oh my God. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of these memes are hilarious. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it, because we all know that a lot of them are funny. But still take into consideration that this disease that you're joking about is affecting someone's family, someone's life, someone's health, you know? And it's sad that social media has no chill like that. Over the years, people have been joking about diseases, joking about death, joking about crime. It's like, and let me say this. Just because something is funny to you doesn't mean that it's funny to someone else. You know what I mean? Just because something isn't that serious to you doesn't mean that it isn't that serious to someone else. So we have to be cautious and mindful of the things that we say and we do to people. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't have the sense of humor that you have. You know? Everybody doesn't joke the way you do. I'm trying. All right. I'm not gonna lie. I was aiming on finishing all of this. But it's getting really cold because I'm sitting here yapping my gums for 20 and some change, but I'm not about to sit here and eat cold cereal. I'm sorry, guys. I'd like to finish this meal with you, but I'm gonna take a couple of more bites and I'm gonna wrap this up.